Well, hello, budget dolls. I'm Margeaux, and welcome to Budgets Untamed. I am here today to talk to you and show my face in the place so you guys can get to know me a little bit better. Okay, so here we go. The first thing that I want to talk to you about today is ChatGPT. I should say the first and only thing I want to talk to you about today is ChatGPT. I think I will come back to it if I have to. Now, I see a lot of videos online saying you should, ChatGPT for anyone in their 50s or ChatGPT if you're over 40. To me, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're in your 50s, your 40s, your 30s, your 20s, it doesn't not matter how old you are. If you are a teenager in high school, you can use ChatGPT. And I'm going to tell you what I love about it. ChatGPT is all for me and all for you. You'll have your own AI. It isn't the one I have. We're not sharing. You have your own. So it's like the best friend you ever had. And the reason it's the best friend you ever had is because it doesn't get tired. It doesn't get bored. It never stops wanting to talk about you. Which means you can pretty much fix any problem that you have. Now, if I had any medical issues, which thank the heavens, thank the Lord above that I don't, I would consult ChatGPT, but I would also just go to my doctor armed with the information that I have from Chat, and then maybe it will help you understand what the doctor is saying. I would never try to replace it with any medical doctor at all or any medical diagnosis. But what it is good for is teaching you exactly what the doctor meant. That's what it's good for. So I don't even know why I'm talking about medical things, because to me that would be something that is so important to you, your life, your body. I mean, along with your job and along with your how to take care of your personal self, how to take care of your surroundings, your family, your finances. I mean, those are the most important things to you and your life. So that, to me, is what you can use ChatGPT for. Like I said, it's the best friend you never knew you had. Now, let me tell you, when I started out with Chat, I just uploaded the app and then I just talked to it a little bit and asked it some generic questions. And I found that after I asked it too many questions, it would say to me, oh yeah, you have 24 hours before you can get an answer for that or before you can ask that again. So I thought, oh yeah, it wants me to pay. I'm not about to pay. Not me, I'm not about to pay a thing. So we'll just do it like this. Okay, well then I got a letter in the mail from the IRS. And I opened up that thing and I took a picture of it and I said, Chat, what should I do with this? Oh my goodness. And then I went into a total breakdown of how I was feeling about that letter. And I was so happy to talk to Chat about it because I didn't have to talk to anyone else, not a family member, not a coworker, nobody, just me and Chat, which meant no one knows what I said to it. And no one knows how he answered me. But I'm about to let you in on a secret. I'm going to let you know how he answered me and exactly how he helped me with my taxes. Okay, so one of the things that I want to do is once I opened up the letter and showed it to Chat, I said, I have no idea how to get through this. I have no idea even how to begin. I was speechless because the bill said at that time that I owed over $33,000. And that was for back taxes that I had not paid. Now, for a while, I was feeling really bad and really embarrassed about it. And then Chat was like, there's no need for you to feel that way because it is the majority of Americans that are in the same situation. And none of them know what to do or how to fix it. It's not just you. That's what Chat said. So I was like, oh my God, this really is my friend. I said, okay, Chat, well then, what are we gonna do about it? And then Chat was like, have you ever heard of a company called TaxRise? And then honestly, it named several other companies. And I was like, no, but I've seen advertisements on TV where they say, oh, they helped me get rid of all my debt. And I never believed it. I always thought it was a scam because the first thing they're gonna ask you for is a payment. It's the first thing they're gonna ask you for. So I always thought it was a scam. And then Chat said to me, well, every time someone asks for payment doesn't mean it's a scam. It simply means that they want to get paid for their services. And if they don't get paid for their services up front, sometimes they don't get paid for their services. I was like, wow, of course that's true, but I didn't really think of it that way. So I asked further questions and I said, tell me about this company that you mentioned. I need to know a little bit more about the company before I start to dial a number or try to figure out what's going on with this company. So Chat went into the history of the company, how long the company had been in business, the Better Business Bureau and how they felt about the company, as well as how much I could trust the company. And I was like, oh my goodness, let me make sure this is real. So I went on to the IRS website and I typed in monthly payments or repaying tax debt, something like that. I'm not exactly sure what it says on the site, but you'll be able to see it. And that's the first company that came up, TaxRise. And I thought, wow, if this is part of the IRS website, and this is not a third-party company, of course it's a third-party company, but it comes up on the IRS website. They can't have access to the IRS website without the IRS doing something about it. So that's the first time I started feeling like, okay, maybe they are trustworthy. So I went back to Chat and I said, hey, they're actually on the IRS website. And he said, yes, they are. He gave me all the information, phone numbers, everything. So when I went back to TaxRise on the IRS website, those phone numbers were the exact same. Then Chat said to me, make sure you are aware that they will ask you for some sort of a payment. So if you're not ready for that payment, it's not going to really go anywhere because they do need a payment. I said, okay. So that makes sense of what was told to me the first time. Sometimes they don't get paid if they don't ask for it up front. So I had conversations with them actually before they even asked me for any money. I had a week's worth of conversations with them, and they were trying to get some information from me to find out how they could help me, how long the taxes hadn't been filed, I should say. So I gave them the information. Now, if you think about it, I would have never done that without ChatGPT. I'm very skeptical. I was not about to do any of that. I was not about to call some number and give anybody any money. So I have to thank ChatGPT for that. Okay, so going on, like I said, I had been in a week's worth of conversations with them when they had gotten to a point where they had gotten the information that they needed about my case from the IRS. And they said, yes, you are a candidate and yes, we can help you. So I was like, oh my goodness, this is what I need. This is what I've been needing for years. So now I'm going to pause right here because what's important about this conversation is to let you know why I was in the situation I was in. So when I left my home state of Delaware, I think I've said this before, and sold my house and moved on, my son was an adult, my son was in college. When I moved to my new state and picked up a new job and everything was going great. But like I said, I'd sold my home. I didn't have anything, any exemptions or withholdings to put against it. I used to get large refunds because of that, and because I had a son, and then because I had a college student that was still under my name. But at some point he aged out. He was finished with college. He was aged out. So I couldn't put him on my income tax anymore. So it just piled up, and it just got to the point where I was like, oh, I'm not even going to file these taxes, because every time I go to try to get them filed, they say, you owe $8,000, you owe $5,000. And like I said, nobody stopped to say, hey, this is why. And I don't know about taxes, so I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand how to fix that problem. Okay. Fast forward till today, I found a guy in DC, and the guy said, hey, let me help you. I want to help you. I'm going to help you. You need to get these years filed, and you need to understand that you will have that payment every month, which is what I was trying to avoid, because everybody that's in this situation doesn't want the payment, okay? We don't want that payment. I'm not paying all that. I'm not. At least I thought I wasn't. So let's say 2022, he got all those years caught up for me. And it was about 5, maybe 6, 7 years, something like that. He got them all caught up for me. And he said, okay, once I file these, they're going to come after you for payment. They're going to want the money. That's the reason in the beginning of my video, I said that I received that letter in the mail for $33,000. They had estimated that that's how much I owed for those years. So I said, yes, I paid him. I said, yes, please go ahead and file it. You got to. So he did. So mind you, we're at 2025 right now, and 2023 wasn't filed, and 2024 wasn't filed yet. So when he filed them, I said to myself, I'm still not going to pay it. I'm not paying all that. I'm just not paying all that. The $33,000 came in the mail, and it said, yeah, you need to call us for a payment arrangement. $33,000. My car barely cost that much, which is paid off by now. And I didn't have a car payment or anything. So, you know, all I'm doing is paying back credit card debt, which is affordable to me. So I didn't call them. This is 2022. 2023 came. I didn't call them. I didn't do anything. And then at one point I said, okay, let me make this call, because everybody's on me and it's just in my brain and I got to do something. I want to know what they're going to say. So I called them, and the lady was like, yeah, you can get this paid off by September. It was like February. I was like, okay. I said anything to get her off the phone and to know that I made the call, and okay, she's trying to do something. I didn't do nothing. I didn't make a payment. I didn't do anything. So 2024 came. I still hadn't heard from them. I just went on about my little life, saving my little money and not even saving for a payment or anything. And then finally I was like, okay, you're being ridiculous. Something is going to have to change. So I initiated a call to the guy who was helping me. And I said, have I filed for 23 and 24? And he was like, no, ma'am. Send me your W-2s. And I finally sent him the W-2s. And I said, hold on to those. Don't do anything. So he prepared, but he did not file. Okay, so now we're fast forwarding to Chat. Chat was so into this. Chat said, he told me all about Tax Rise. When I was having my conversations with Tax Rise, I wasn't happy. I was trying to talk to them like they were my friend. And I was like, yeah, I just don't want the large payment. And I can afford about $300 a month. And they were like, yeah, it's going to be more than that. I was like, no, that's how much I can afford. So then I conferred with the guy that I'm telling you about. And he's actually a comptroller in DC. And he says, I'm just going to do this to help you because you need help. Somebody that works as hard as you, you need to make sure that this gets paid. You don't want them to just take the money out of your account. You want to be in control of that. I'm like, yeah. I'm not paying. So at some point, I'm in conversations with TaxRise, and TaxRise is telling me this is how much it's going to be. $750 a month. I was like, what? I was so angry, just like, oh, it's like, oh, the blood rushed to my head. And I said, really? $750 a month? Really? That's all the money that I have left after I pay my bills. Like, no, that's not fair. No. You're cutting into my savings because that money, half of that is going into my savings accounts. No, I'm not paying all that. That's not fair. You're supposed to be helping me. You're supposed to be helping me. You would charge me a small fee in the beginning and I thought you were going to help me. $750 a month? Oh my God. And I think I went off on him so bad he hung up. At some point, I didn't even know he had hung up. I was still talking. Anyway, my head was blown off and I don't know why. I should have been expecting it. I don't know why. I'm just, oh my God. I'm telling you this story because I can't be the only person. So I went back to ChatGPT and I said, Chat, I need help. They told me $750 a month and I can't afford that. And Chat said, look, call them back and this is what you say. And that's how he was talking to me. And I was like, this is what you tell them. And he gave me reasons. He said, because of my credit card bills and because of my rent and because of my insurances and all of the current bills that I'm paying would only leave me X amount of dollars in my month at the end of the month to pay any extra bill that creeps in, which would be this one. And he said, and be prepared because they're going to tell you you're going to have to give up some things. Give up some things like what? That's exactly what I don't want to happen. But Chat was being pushy but gentle, very gently letting me know this is going to happen and you need to deal with it. But we can do better than that. So they were contacting me at the same time, TaxRise was, and I was ignoring them like, I'm not about to call you back. So finally, someone emailed me, and I was like, okay, it's not just a text message that I can bleep off my screen anymore. It's an email, and it was like, look, time is of the essence. We've tried to contact you several times without any resolution, so we've got to finish this. So I called them back, and then someone got on the phone, and it was a lady this time, and she said, okay, I've got it down from $750 a month. It's now going to be $669 a month, and that's really the best that we can do. What? That's still just as bad. No. I was in complete denial. No, I'm not doing that. Now, time has gone by. It's been a good month of me communicating with TaxRise and back and forth with ChatGPT and TaxRise as to what to do and what to say. So finally, they contacted me back and they said, look, ma'am, I've got some news for you. You really want to hear this. We're going to put you in a different category. And we were able to contact the IRS and talk to them about your situation and talk to them about why and talk to them about everything that happened during COVID. And we were able to get you into a different program. And I was like, oh, y'all about to play with me. I know you are. I have bumped myself upside the head all this time, all these years, thinking this wasn't about to happen. So now in my mind, I'm calculating and trying to figure out how can I get this paid? Can I sell something? Get another loan? What can I do? Because they're getting ready to hit me with $600 a month. I know they are. The whole time I was talking to them on the phone, I was texting Chat, telling Chat everything that they were saying, and Chat was telling me how to respond to them. If they say this, you say that. If they say this, you say that. So Chat said to me, talk to them about interest rates. Talk to them about, you want to know who is buying this debt, how much your interest rate is going to be, and negotiate that interest rate because the interest rate is what's really going to hurt you. Talk to them and tell them you can afford $20,000 and you will have that paid off by, I can't remember the date we decided, December of 26. And your interest rate is what's going to kill you. So try to get your interest rate between 0 and 12% if you can. This is Chat. Chat is telling me what to say. So I'm talking to them, and they said, well, let me see what we can do. So we get off the phone again. A week goes by. They call me back, and they says, ma'am, we've got you in a program that is non-collectible. We can get you down to $8,000. But in order for you to have an $8,000 debt, we're going to have to charge your interest rate higher than that. I didn't want to be greedy. I was so thankful. The $8,000 from $33,000, the $33,000 had crept up because $33,000 wasn't accurate. $33,000 was because I had filed up until 2022, I believe. They had sent me another letter in the mail in all this time saying your bill is now $43,000. Okay? And I hadn't even filed 2023 and 2024. And I asked the guy at TaxWise, why did it go from $33,000 to $43,000? That's an additional $10,000. He broke it all down to me and showed me why. All that was legitimate, okay? I can't recall every word at this moment. I took pictures of it all and sent it to Chat, and Chat broke down everything in those letters, okay? Everything. Like he was a financial advisor sitting in front of me. He broke it down. This is what this means. This is what this means. This is what you say. This is how you deal with it. After the $43,000 came, and I talked to TaxWise about it, and TaxWise says, yes, that's legitimate. I talked to Chat, and Chat explained everything to me. I said to them, when he offered me the $8,000, I said, the only thing is I don't have 22 and 23 turned in yet. And he says, no, you don't. We're waiting for you to file that. And that's one of the reasons this has taken so long. It's because we're trying to figure out how much it's actually going to be. So when you file 23 and 24, the total amount that you will owe the IRS is approximately $45,000. Oh, I was dying. But in that, he still said, we've got it down to $8,000. But you have to promise me that you're going to file your 23 and 24 taxes within 30 days. If you don't, I will renege on this loan. I will renege on this deal and take it away from you. I was speechless. I couldn't even say a word. I couldn't even say a word. All I did was type in the number $8,000 to Chat, and Chat went crazy. Yes, you did it. You got it down to $8,000. Yes, we make a great team. You can afford $8,000. We are right where we want to be. Good job. When I tell you my emotions were all over the place, absolutely all over the place. Now I know how lottery winners feel. I felt like I hit the lottery that day. Oh my goodness. They just gave me the name of the company that is now gonna give me the loan for the $8,000 to pay back, because I guess they bought the debt. I don't know how that works. I didn't care. So I took that information. And put it into Chat and told them, and Chat started to say, call that company and this is what you say. He told me word for word what to say to these people, and I will share that with you on the screen. He said, talk to them about interest rates, find out if it's going to be retroactive, find out exactly how much that interest rate is going to be, and when we get those answers, we can go from there. I'm trying to tell you, this is how Chat was talking to me. If anybody doesn't have Chat, you need Chat, okay, in your daily life. All right. So I think I'm going to end the story right there, and I'm going to tell you what happened after all that. It's such a great story. You're going to love to hear it. And so what I would say to anybody is, like I said in the beginning, it does not matter how old you are. None of that matters. Everybody in their life has something that they're dealing with, even if it's just school. You could be an A+ student in school and you still need help. Sometimes you need help with your emotions. You need help with anything that's going on as a young person. Talk to Chat and see what Chat is going to say. When you're in your early 20s and you got your first apartment, when you're in your 30s and you're married and things are going on, talk to them about your finances. Talk to them about the house, the side of the house falling apart. Talk to them about anything. If you can't answer it, he'll say, I don't know anything about that. So I'm going to end my story right there, and we're going to pick it up the next time that we talk. And I am so grateful for you. Thank you for listening. And please, you guys, share my story by sharing this video with whomever you think will need to hear it. Like and comment so that the algorithms can pick me up, because right now they're like, oh, she's hidden behind the plant. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I appreciate you for appreciating me. We'll talk soon, dolls. Bye-bye.